So, we've talked a lot about manifesting on the podcast before, 5 mistakes not to make, biggest manifesting secrets. But I really just wanted to take this time to share, one, some of the things that are going on in our life, two, the freaking cool manifestations and how it unfolds, and just more insight as to the more we practice this and the more we live by this way of thinking and feeling, just deeper insights and trust that you build in surrendering to the universe. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be.
This is going to be an episode of thought experiments and how they are working out in our real life. Because it's one thing to talk about stuff. It's one thing to just hear it and grab one ear and go out the other. It's another deal to actually put it into practice and see it come to fruition in your life. And so we want to share how that looks and what that's going to be like today.
I mean, I really did not plan on getting in a car accident or looking for a new car or anything that's, unfolding because of that journey that we shared a little bit in a past episode. If you hadn't heard, we were in a car accident with a drunk driver, and it totaled our car, broke my hand, and we are on that healing journey. And a part of that journey was, holy smokes, we need a new car. We are a one-car family. We like to keep things very simple and very basic. And so when our car was totaled, we were like, okay, but what do we do now? And so we had immediately thought, well, the Subaru saved our life. Maybe we'll continue with that. And then Chris started doing some more research to find what is the safest car. Because when you've been in an accident, PTSD is a real thing, okay? I was definitely clenching up every time a car would move at us, oh my God. So safety to me, and I would assume you, is number one priority. Not how cool does it look, but if we can get both,
Yeah, our needs were changing, and I wanted to explore what are all of our options, because our last car we bought in 2016, yeah. So it'd been a while, it'd been a while since we looked at cars. I hadn't even thought about it. I figured we just ride that thing till the wheels fell off. It was a tank of a vehicle, and it's gotten us through a lot of trips, across country, especially into Colorado, which is why we wanted it in the first place, is so that we could survive in the mountains of Colorado, yeah. Or any other place where we can go enjoy nature and do hiking and stuff. And so I'm researching, I'm looking through, I'm poring over every possible report of what safety looks like, of what new cars look like, used cars, everything. I'm a scourer, I want to look through every single corner.
AKA Aquarius. So shout out to the Aquariuses this season. I know it's your birthday month.
I want to be in I want to know it from every angle. So I spent days, and it takes time too. This is not something that I can just, immediately, yes, this is it, we're going to do this. And so I took time, and we end up settling on a Kia of all cars. I'm like, there's no way but the more research that I did, the more that's the car that we want. We made a decision. We're like, okay, this is it. And then I start to actually go out, and we're going to go look at dealerships. Mm-hmm. And we get to the first dealership, and it's taken a couple days to get there. We get to the dealership, and I'm excited, because it's a brand new purchase. I'd already done the research. I know what the car looks like. I know what it does, and I know all the stuff, right? So we get to the car lot, and I'm looking for it. I'm like, where's this car at? And then I'm kind of thinking, where are any cars at? And then I talk to the guy, and I'm like, hey man, I want to test drive a couple cars. He goes, well, there are no cars on the lot. I'm like, I can definitely see that. So I'm trying to figure out what do you guys do here? What are we doing? He said, you can't find one of these cars. It takes 3 all the way to 8 months to order one. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, what are we going to do for 3 to 8 months? That's a long time to wait.
I was about to bust out my Facebook friends group and be like, who's got an extra car? Hook it up. Ask for help, I wasn't sure what we would do. And it really kind of came down to that last moment where they finally cut the check and said, you've got 5 days with the rental car, and then you're on your own. And so we had extended it by a week so that we could give ourselves that time to try to secure a car. And after looking at so many different dealerships, we realized like we're going to have to wait for if we want this car. And we didn't even know if we wanted it, to be honest, because we'd never seen it in person. Online and on paper, it was great. But I'm picky.
True that.
And I want to see it and feel it and drive it and smell it and all the things. And we really couldn't find any dealerships that had them on the lot at all.
But we were set. We were set that that's the car that we wanted. We'd picked an obscure color combination that, no one has. It's normally black, white, red, like blue, those kind of things. We wanted a custom color. We wanted it to be a certain way. So I said, you know what, we're going to have to build it. We're going to have to, order it and wait the months. But I said, but that's the car that we want. Like that was in our mind. And I know Britt was like, we're getting this car. So we're on the same page here. A couple on the same page, thinking about the same thing, manifesting the same thing. So I said, forget it. Let's move forward. And so I'm ordering the car. Get the car ordered. We pick all the little options. We get the weird color combo. Get it exactly the way we want. It's going to take forever to get here. And so we end up heading out for the day. We're riding out in the afternoon in our rental car. And I get a phone call that says...
And it was Friday.
Friday.
It was like the weekend that we were turning
Friday.
in.
Mm-hmm.
We were turning in the rental car that weekend.
Yes. I mean, it was like we were coming to a space where...
Like, what are we going to do?
We were sure, like, what's happening right now?
I was about to call Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get a message. Oh, I asked the guy. So I was calling all the dealerships, right? I call everywhere. I call everything that's within 200 miles of us. I talk to everybody and if I didn't like the person I talked to on the phone, I immediately hung up and talked to somebody else who I thought would either offer me a car or get me somewhere or tell me who I could talk to. So I called everybody. And one of the guys I talked to, I saw on the website that they were going to have a car coming in. So I call him. I'm like, hey, man, I see you got a car coming in. What's the scoop on that? I'm interested. He said, well, someone had already ordered the car, and so we're just waiting for them to pick it up. I was like, well, it says on the website you've got one. He goes, yeah, it's a glitch in the system, so we don't really have it. It's just someone's reserved that. They had it built. They've waited the months, and so they're going to go pick it up. And I told him, well, what's going to happen when they don't pick it up? And he paused for a second. And he goes, well, I've never had that happen. It's a pretty slim to none chance. And so what I heard is there's a slim chance. I tuned out that there's no chance, and I harped on there's a slim chance. So I'm telling Britt, hey, we might be able to get this car.
Got to focus on the hope.
It's a very high possibility, not slim like he told me. There's a high possibility we're going to get this car. And so that's what we did. The guy called me 2 days later. I called him back the next day. I'm like, hey, is that car ready? He goes, no, man. He's like, they haven't come. They got another day. They're going to pick it up. They're picking it up. I was like, all right. Call me when they don't. And so I get a phone call. We're driving out that afternoon. I get a phone call on Friday, and it's Michael. And he says, hey, that car that you wanted just came available. Can you guys get here? And that's what we did.
First, we hit up the chiropractor because self-care always comes first.
True.
We were on our way. And we took that chance. He's like, first come, first serve. And when we were 6 minutes out, he said, but there's another couple here. You've got to get here. And meanwhile, I've already sent in all my information. I'm like, no, bro, we've already started this process. Like, this is my car. And when we exited the highway, you guys know my spirit sign, like, shout it out. Pink cars. We exit the highway, and there's a pink car sitting at the stoplight waiting for us to turn in. And I thought, I'm getting a car today. And to follow that, there was a unicorn sitting on Michael's desk when we sat down to sign paperwork. And I thought, all the signs are pointing to yes. We even saw ladybugs that day. My tarot card that day was the 8 of Wands, if you're into it. It's about, manifestation and quick swiftness, taking fast action to opportunities that present. I looked at Chris that morning and said, we are getting a car today. I mean, we had no freaking clue if we were going to get a car. We just had the confidence to put it out there.
And then when we got to the actual place, so we sit down in the guy's seat. He's already got our information, the driver's license, the insurance, the whole shebang. We sit down in a seat, and what we realize that there is, because I'm like, where's the car at? Because I want to see it, There's a person looking at the car, and they're actually in the little cubby room next to us. So we can see them through the little plexiglass. And I can see that person who's looking at our car and trying to decide, are they going to buy it or not? And there was not one moment that I thought, we're not getting that car. I think that's one of the big tips here is that you put into yourself that you have the faith. And it's not like a faith, and I keep going back to the idea. It's just that there's a faith that something is going to happen, that things will work out. They won't always work out that way. Sometimes, and a lot of the time, they'll work out better because it won't be what you foresaw in your mind. So it's really important when you start to manifest is this, there has to be this kind of undying faith, and that faith has to be backed by action. That's the double whammy combo that most people mess up on. One person just thinks it's a wishing well and they're not going to get it. You have to do the wishing well plus the action behind it. So I was calling everybody. I was looking. I was putting out my intent, my energy. It was in the energy that I talked to Britt about. The whole world revolves around these energetic ideas because thoughts are things. They can be measured. We can get on brain scans and realize that, when you think a certain way, it lights up this. So thoughts are things. And so you want to constantly be putting out the kind of thoughts to attract the things that you want. So I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're never going to get a car.
It's so hard to get a car.
No, we're never going to be able to find it. It's not that. It's that we're going to get this. It's a declaration of this is what I want. And this is how I want it to happen. Even though I'm flexible on the way it happens. Because I didn't know I was getting it that day. But I definitely had faith that I was getting it.
And then when I knew it was going to be our car was when the guy had purple pins to sign the contract because, hey, that's the only color I write in.
He had your exact pen. Britt uses G2 Pilot pens.
No, they're going to go out of stock now. Everyone's going to buy them.
She used these gel pens. It's what she writes in her little journals with. It's what she writes in her calendar with. One of the secrets to Britt is purple G2 gel pens. I buy them for her every Christmas. They're in her stocking, and I buy a ton of them because
I'm a simple gal.
Despite the fact that, the world is so digital, Britt is an old school, write it with her hand, write greeting cards kind of a person. And so when he had that pen, when we saw that unicorn, when that car was pink, when he called us, yes. It was yes. It was all the signs were there, and we just had to be able to look for them and not lose that hope. I think a lot of times it's the feeling of the defeat that defeats you. It's not actually the thing. It's that feeling of defeat and how long. Because there are some people who worry to death. They'll worry, and what they were worried about would have never happened. What if we would have been worried? What if we just spent the 2 weeks up until that point just worrying?
That would have felt like even more stressful.
I mean, how would we have shown up and
It's already
served?
A stressful situation.
Yeah, so forget about it.
Yeah.
You just have to, if worry worked, man, we would be on here talking about the 3 ways to worry the best. I mean, we would be on here talking about it.
Haven't covered that topic yet.
But it's so defeating, and it deflates your attitude, and it kind of carries everyone around you with it. And we were pumped up. I mean, we got dollars knocked off the car. We got VIP stuff. They hooked us up with certain things that I wanted. I mean, it was about an attitude. It's about a lot of times the way you treat people. And that only works if you're not inside your head all the time. And so that's why manifesting is such an important thing. It's not just that I want something and that's it. There has to be an energetic give and take that you're doing. Like you're putting energy and focus towards that in a positive way. And that means that even if it starts to rain on your parade, it doesn't matter. You just keep you keep infusing it with this positive energy, these positive thoughts, this energy vibration, if you will. It sounds woo-woo, but it's so scientific at the same time. So much of this stuff will come into your life if you will do that faith plus action. It will be amazing, and you will surprise yourself this year.
You know what was cute, though? When we sat down with the last guy to sign the final contracts, he was like, so I just kind of went and looked at your website after looking through your profile to see what do you do? Because he's like, what do you do? And he's like, I really like what you're up to. I really think you would be good, you'd be good for my wife. I want to reach out and have her work with you. I'm like, and I just manifested a client out of this. It's so amazing if you just surrender and trust, decide what you want and then let it go and let it come to you.
I think a lot of times we try to have a lot of grip and control on our life, and we try to grip certain things and hold on to them even tighter. And there is a balance here with manifesting. There's a balance of holding on, and there's a balance of completely letting go. And it's a fine balance. And as you tune into yourself and figure out what that is for you and what that means that you have to change in terms of your thinking and in terms of your action, you'll find that you manifest a lot quicker. And a lot of times you'll also find that sometimes when you completely give up on something, is when you'll manifest the most stuff, which is really awkward.
Dude, I manifested you when I gave up on relationships.
And
focused on, I'm going to go to hair school and I'm going to be this badass boss babe. And then you showed up.
And it totally reminds me, you were in a different energy. You're an energy that said, I'm going to serve myself first. And I tell you, when I live in that energy, when I serve myself first, and not a jerk about it, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, just when I serve myself first, so much more of life happens for me. I don't have, there's not an obstacle called me in the way.
It's so weird how that works.
It's counterintuitive. It's like if I squeeze a little tighter, if I make it a little, if I try a little harder, it doesn't always work that way. So you have to figure out where it is for you, where you do have to push harder. We have to make sure that you're not just sort of sitting back on your haunches, but at the same time that you do everything in flow.
You know what's really cool too? Well, first of all, patience. Let me back up. I think patience is another quality in essence when it comes to manifestation, because when you manifest small things, sometimes they come really quick and it's easy and it's effortless. I mean, I've shared the Q-tip story in the past, which, so crazy. Ask for something, sometimes it's immediate. But sometimes you ask for things that are really big, like that you have to become and evolve into a different person ready to receive the biggest dream that you've been putting out there. And I remember back in like 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15, somewhere back there, like, I don't know, whatever the math is on that. In that time frame, I remember investing in B School and saying, I'm going to invest in this, not just for myself, but because I want to be an affiliate for this program. I want to be connected to this program. I want the world to know about like the tools to follow your passion and make a difference and make an impact and income. Like, I want to help people with that. And I remember when we invested in that, I had this dream that one day, like, I would be friends with Marie Forleo and that we would just, be like talking shop and changing the world. And what I'm really excited to finally say is that dream, that manifestation, that seed that I planted back in 2015 or whenever it was, has come true. And next week on the podcast, we'll be interviewing Marie Forleo. All about B School and how her work has impacted my life, which has impacted thousands of people's lives. And it's just this ongoing chain of helping people out by doing what you love. And that's the kind of lesson and life and inspiration I want to live and leave behind.
The other big thing, and it's something that I subscribed to for a long time, and I think one of the biggest secrets that a lot of people either haven't tuned into or are not using it enough, and that is the fact that success always leaves clues. There is always a breadcrumb trail. And so oftentimes when we want to accomplish something, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I feel like a lot of people think things are difficult because they try to figure it all out by themselves. And one of the biggest things is to realize that a lot of times other people have already figured it out. They've already come up with the answers and the solutions. A lot of times you can piggyback in your own way. We're not talking about copycatting. We're talking about piggybacking on their great ideas. There are good ways to run a business. There are excellent ways to be in a relationship. There are ways to meditate. There are ways to lift weights. There are ways to do literally everything that is accomplishable that you might want to do. And there's someone out there who has already done it. And so for me, Marie's one of those people who she's been there and she's done that. And I think that what we're finding a lot with people in general right now is this is the entrepreneur's era. Like, this is a time where so many people are getting out of the typical 9-to-5 hustle, especially since we've seen COVID happen. So many more people are at home and they're saying to themselves, what else can I do? What other side project, or could I even transform my expertise into some kind of a business? And that's what you were looking at back in those days. And I didn't know how to help you. I didn't know what a expert industry was, or
online marketing.
I mean, those weren't even concept. I didn't know what
digital courses.
No clue how to make them, how to record them, how to take
podcasts,
how to take what I already knew. And it was such a shame because there were so many times where people asked you for something and you're like, yeah, but I don't know how to do that.
Oh yeah, how to curl with a flat iron.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know how to shoot videos. I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff.
Oh, first video we tried.
But it was when Marie came along, we were able to use her expertise in the marketing space so that we could showcase what your talents were and be able to offer them to people. And that was such a big transition, because what I find is that as your service has gone up, so has your fulfillment. It's being able to offer what you do and wake up each morning and say, oh my gosh, like, this job is the coolest, what I'm doing with my life. It's funny because you stop really looking at it as a job. It seems more like I just want to do it. Because in your free time, I know about you, Britt's one of these people who, she's like, hey man, let's have a super relaxed day today. It's going to be super chill. And what that means to Britt is she's going to work on one of her super passion projects that's related to work. It's because if you can make work not a job, you've figured it out. If you can figure out to a way to make money that's more of a vacation for you, it's something that, in other words, it's something that you just simply enjoy doing, especially that brings a lot of value to other people. That is one of the big secrets. And following someone who has done that is one of the easiest ways, because a lot of times what I see people do is, rather than start really going for it, like they know that they should, like they know that they really deserve, what they do is they hold themselves back by talking about how hard it's going to be. Well, that was really tough. That didn't work out. It's because you're not following a recipe. You're not following a plan. Like you got to know the steps to do something. Like if you told me to go in there and cook something up in the kitchen, I hope I've made it before, because if not, I'm not going to know anything to do. And so you have to have that recipe. You have to know exactly what it is, what are those steps, and in what order, so that you can recreate it. Doesn't mean you won't fumble. Of course, you're going to add too much. You're going to forget to add this thing in. You're not going to set the oven before you start baking. Those things are going to happen. But at least you still can go back. Oh, I missed this step. Okay, take two. And then now you've got it. And for me, that's what was beautiful watching you do that. How you took what you really wanted and began to offer it in through a way that I didn't know how to do it.
Well, I didn't even know what the heck I was doing, to be honest, because I just started the Facebook group and was like, I like reading tarot cards. I'm going to post a picture of them. And then people would ask more questions. And then live videos became a thing. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll just pull a card on a live. And it's so beautiful how this entire empire has unfolded because of one little passion of pulling cards for people. Hey, I'd like to make it a little bit easier for you to have automatic clarity and insight into what's going on with you right now. And if I can just make it easier for someone else, and the cards for me were the way that was happening. It's just interesting how it all unfolds. So it really is important to figure out what is that thing you love to do and do it all the time. Literally told Chris before we sat down to record podcasts, I'm so glad I'm off work today so that we can hang out and be chill. And he's like, babe, we're not off work. We're about to sit down and record podcasts. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I don't even think of it as a job. I think of this as our mission, and it's fun, and I want to do it all the time. And anything that distracts me from wanting to, pour my energy into making this bigger and easier for people to experience. I think that's really what I spend all my time doing, is optimizing the process and making it so much more simple and easy for people to get the transformation that they need.
Yeah. So my question for you is, what are you manifesting right now? What have you decided? I want this. And have you made that image of that crystal clear in your mind to where it feels like it'd be natural for you to have it? If it feels unnatural, your body doesn't want to do it. Anything that feels weird, your body's like, it's not for me. But if you imagine it enough times, if you felt yourself with it, for me, even though we hadn't been in the car, I'd already driven it in my mind.
Oh, we watched so many YouTube videos so that we could at least get a visual representation of what does it look like, so that we can call that in faster.
So we want to saturate the subconscious mind. So that's what I want you to be thinking about right now. Whatever it is that you want, I want you to not only be crystal clear about it, but saturate your subconscious mind with those images. The second thing is, if you have a business right now, or if you've been wanting to have a business, are you ready to scale it? Are you ready to make it bigger? Are you ready to make your offerings more crystal clear for people? Are you ready to understand how to market so you can reach more people? I mean, that's where we were. We had a great idea, and we just wanted to be able to reach more people. So where are you at in your financial life? Do you want a side hustle? Do you already have something that you want to take to the next level? The conversation that Britt's going to have next week is going to be absolutely phenomenal in getting you started in that direction, because what I see is I want to see more entrepreneurs. I absolutely love being around entrepreneurs. They are the movers and shakers. They're the ones who really shape the entire planet the way that it is. So people as entrepreneurs, it's a huge, not only responsibility, but it's a huge power. And it's going to uncover a lot of things inside yourself that you'll have to overcome. And it's a beautiful journey to take. And so I hope that this inspires you to start to begin to take that journey, to have that belief in yourself that I can manifest. I do want to be bigger. I do want to make more things.
I'm ready for more.
I'm ready for more.
My heart feels so good. And speaking of heart, it's going to feel so good next week? The couples retreat.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's time.
Are you so excited?
Yeah.
So you've just turned 40. I'm interviewing, well, I don't know. Are you going to join this interview? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Interviewing Marie Forleo, launching B School again next week. So many cool things are unfolding for us. We've got the Goddess Retreat coming up. Chris and I have decided that we are taking a 2-week or longer road trip to Northern California to Mount Shasta. And we're also going to be going over to Dr. Bear Lando's, I don't know, off-grid farm. Is that what you call it? Alpha Vedic Farms.
Yeah, his permaculture farm. So right now we are looking into building our own retreat facility and center. I mean, that's really sort of where all this is going.
Ooh, this is our manifestation. Let's put it out in the world.
All right, here we go. So we are planning on doing a retreat center. We've been planning this for a lot of years. It's been the basis for a lot of our work, because what we found is that when we get together with people in person, transformation happens a lot faster. And a lot of times it's because, we just don't have time in the regular world. We only get bits and pieces of people. And sometimes you need yourself open and exposed and vulnerable for a little bit longer so that you can heal some of those deeper wounds, and so you can go back into life being the person who you're always meant to be. And we find that because in person, we can't do retreats all the time. I mean, I guess we could, but it'd be so much better if we had it on our own piece of property. And that way we could control it. We could set it up exactly the way it should be, for all of our people. And so we have been manifesting that. We have been thinking about what does that retreat center look like. And so I want to go out to Dr. Bear Lando, who I think is just an absolute genius when it comes to what are more of the natural remedies. What are some of the things that you can do? What, like biodynamic farming. He's got an extensive list. And so I want to go out there and explore it, because if there's anything that I can take away and give to the people that come and visit our retreat center in the future, that's what I want to do. So I'm looking for healing modalities right now. I've been exploring a lot of this for the past 20 plus years, and this is going to end up being our life's work, especially something that seeing people heal and seeing them overcome the things that have been debilitating for them their entire life is absolutely incredible for me. I cannot get more excited than that right there. And hearing how people's lives change and they find love and they find romance and they end up having the job that they want and they rekindle relationships with their kids again. And there's just so much beauty and so much power. They forgive people who've hurt them forever ago. It's like when that starts to happen and people start to love again, you start to see that positive energy get back into the world. Like that's what we're looking for. So this is our manifestation with you. So you help us imagine that retreat space. Remember, it's out in the woods. It's a place where you can get away. It's a place where there's no real cell phone signal. It's a place where you can be quiet with nature and get back to all the healing modalities that bring you home to yourself.
You know what that reminds me of? At our first retreat in Destin, it was February 20th, 2020. One of the goddesses wrote down on the intention piece of paper on the new moon that she wanted to manifest love at her doorstep. We set those intention papers out into the world and planted those seeds. And shortly after, the pandemic happened and she was ordering groceries online. And the person that delivered her groceries ended up becoming her girlfriend. And she brought her to the next 2 goddess retreats, only to now, full circle, come back to Destin 2 years later on 2/22/22 with that love that she manifested 2 years ago.
Absolutely empowering. It's so cool to see. I've always said there's so much potential inside of people. They a lot of times don't see it. I think it's just because they live with themselves for so long. They've been in their own head. But man, when you see that potential start to come out, when you realize how happy people can be and how joyous they can be, I mean, it is almost addictive. It is addictive to see that kind of transformation inside of people's lives, and it is so fulfilling and so rewarding. So, well,
isn't that why Gabby calls it Spirit Junkie?
It's true. It's incredible to help people, to be a part of that. It's not that we never try to fix people. That's not what we're doing over here. It's to inspire people to go after those things that they want. People fix themselves. I mean, it is beautiful to watch.
I freaking love it. And that's what we are really focusing on this year is how can we optimize all of the online experience so that we can spend all of our time in person. So that way we're helping people that can't necessarily come in person so that we can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I get it. Not everybody's going to be a certain kind of a client. Some people only find us through blogs. Some people will find us through YouTube, through podcasts. Some people will take the journey as far as they want to. Some people will sign up for courses. Some people will book private things. That's great. But we want to be able to serve anyone who comes our way. And so it's also important for you and your business is think about, is there another way for you to serve people? Is there something that you can be doing or maybe automate in any kind of way, or maybe just give people a little tidbit of what you do if you have high-end services like some of the ones that we offer? Think about that, because I want to serve people at every possible price range and as intimate or as separate as we can possibly be. That way that, for the people who are ready for whatever message it is that I'm going to bring them, like I want them to be able to receive it. And I don't want to put any barriers in between it. So think about your business in that way too. Think about your relationships, even with your intimate partner. Think about, have I been putting up any barriers? Is there any other way that I can love them? Because sometimes it is just a simple Post-it note, handwritten inside of a lunchbox that just says, hey, I want to let you know I'm thinking about you. I hope you're having a great day. Sometimes, I mean, that's a distance thing. I'm not going to see her do that. And we're not going to be able to experience that together, but that can make her whole day. I don't know what she's going to be experiencing in that moment. It might be a heavy moment, and that little thing might be like, oh my gosh, this was perfect. And so you want to be approaching everybody at different intervals. That doesn't mean when we get together, it's not like we're not going to hug and kiss. We are going to do that. And so I want to be doing that too. So it's figuring out, where can I have these other kind of touch points so that the people who I serve or who are in my life that I love and care about, how can I do it a little bit better? How can they always know that I feel that way?
They say don't judge the day by the amount that you reap, but by the amount that you sow. So I think that's really important when it comes to manifesting, is constantly be thinking about, what good can you do? How can you plant seeds every single day? And then one day you're going to look up and realize, as you're planting seeds, things are starting to come in more and more and more and more and more. So it just is a practice to create space for you to expand, to receive, because you can only receive as much as you're willing to let in. And a lot of the times when we don't love ourselves fully or believe in ourselves fully with that confidence, it's hard to believe that we can receive the things that we're asking for. So it starts small and it builds over time.
See, and that's why from the beginning I was talking about faith plus action. The faith is going to be not only a belief in yourself, but belief that it's possible, belief that it's being brought your way, belief that it's already ready, belief that somehow in the background of everything that's going on in the world, someone or something is making this and orchestrating it for your good. That other part is the action, is what we only take when we have that faith. And it's that action that actually brings it into us. It's not the original faith part. The faith breeds the action, and it's the action accompanied by that allows it to come in. It's so important to grab those two concepts. Yeah,
one small baby step towards the direction of your dreams at a time, and you'll get there.
I love it.
You'll get there. Well, this has been fun. I say it's probably time to wrap up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you love this, let us know by tagging us over on Instagram at the Elevated Life Club, or find us individually. And thank you so much for always tuning in. This has been a great reminder that you really are powerful. You can have anything you set your mind to. All you have to do is decide. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.